Welcome back everybody to another WV Guns and Goats video, and I have a really nice light right here to show you. This is the Holosun Raid Rifle Area Illumination Device, and I love this light. I think it's going to be the best new light of 2025. It just started shipping there at the end of 2024, and it has a lot to offer you. So if you're looking for a light for your long gun or your short gun, like this little Scorpion Evo here, well, you don't want to miss this video. We're going to unbox it, take it outside and see how it performs, and maybe we'll torture it a little bit. But that's what we've got in store for you in tonight's WV Guns and Goats video. Go ahead and headbutt that subscribe button to join the herd. Now, I have already taken a look at their pistol light, the Holosun PID. I have a video where I tortured one of these lights, and it turned out to be pretty much indestructible. If you want to see that video, it's going to be linked down in the description below, and hopefully this light turns out to be the same way. This is their Raid long gun light, but it's so compact it fits on long and short guns really well. Now, this is only available right now as white light illuminations. For you night vision guys, they are coming out with an IR illuminator, but that's supposed to be later this year from what I understand. Now, this light has 3 different modes: high, low, and a lockout mode. None of the extra modes, strobe, or anything that you don't really need. On high mode, this is 1,000 lumens and 80,000 candela. And on low mode, well, I'll put the numbers here on the screen so you can see how it differs between high and low mode. And all those features can be had for about $199 MSRP. However, I've looked online and found this light for about $150. Now let's go ahead, open it up, and I'll show you everything inside the box. In the box, you're going to find a little Torx driver, and then you're going to get a cleaning cloth, a warranty card, and a manual. But what else is in that box? Well, got 2 different mounts. These are Scout compatible mounts. This one's for M-LOK, and this one's for Picatinny. Being Scout compatible, that means there are aftermarket options. And you guys still using key mod, well, you're going to have to buy a mount for this light because it does not come with a key mod mount. Now, here we have a USB-C cable, and this is the battery that comes in the light. It's an 18650 rechargeable battery. Before you use the light, there is a little paper disc you have to remove from it that protects it during shipping from turning on. Now, originally, they had the PID magnetic charging system on the body of this light, but they've went away from it in favor of a charger built in to the battery itself. Now, it has an indicator light, as you can see there. When it's charging, it's going to be red. When it's fully charged, it's going to be green. So that's a really nice feature that the battery has. You can use CR123 batteries if you have a bunch of them, but there is a little tube that you have to remove from the body of the light to use the CR123s. Now, next up, we've got a remote switch, and this is a pretty well thought out switch. The body of it is polymer. It's small, doesn't take up a lot of rail space. It's got 2 cross screws and a large clamping section, a rubber button on here. And this light does have 3 different modes. You'll see those modes when we go outside. I'll show you how to cycle through them. On this end, we have a crane plug. This is an industry standard plug. It also gives you aftermarket options. Now, one of the ways that this switch is really well thought out is this cord right here. Now, if you're familiar with some of the remote switches for lights, sometimes they hang off the gun. You need to use cable management, wire ties, etc. to keep them from moving. But this cord actually has a memory to it. When I route it around, it's going to take shape and kind of stay how you route it. So that is a really nice feature of this switch right here. But let's go over the light itself. And you can see this isn't a huge light. In fact, if we compare it to a Glock 17 magazine right here, you can see it's about the same size and about the same width as this Glock 17 mag is. So this is going to go on your SBRs, SBSs, PCCs, ABCs, rifles, etc. Whatever you want to put this on, it's not going to take up a lot of space on your gun, and it's going to put a lot of light out there. Now here we have our Scout mounting system built in to the light right here. The head of this light is a little bit larger than the body, and it has this really nice high polish reflector to it. On the back here is our crane plug, and it's got a rubber plug cover on it to keep out that water, dirt, debris, etc. Right here is a push button. The push button has the same modes and everything that the remote switch activates. It only has high, low, and lockout. It doesn't have strobe or any extra modes you don't need. So this is a really easy to operate light. And then I think that really covers everything about this light here. This little sticker just warns you that it's going to get hot after prolonged use. So here I have it mounted on the CZ Scorpion Evo, and if you have one of these, you know that this isn't a very large gun. Here we have the remote switch mounted on the left side of the firearm, and it is not taking up a lot of space on this rail. We actually have a good bit of slots in front of that remote switch. Of course, we could also turn that around so that cable is facing the other way. Here we have an Omega 36 mounted to the CZ Scorpion with an ASR mount. It's a fairly larger diameter can, but this has enough room to support an even larger diameter silencer on here. You can see there's a good bit of gap right between the light and the silencer itself. And then here is our cable. Now we had it routed down through a cross slot right there, but even though it had come out of that cross slot, it's not hanging off of the gun. You can see it is still fairly tight and routed on the body of the firearm here. And it's still holding where it's looped around right here into the light itself. So once that cable takes that memory of how you route it, you can see it pretty much stays put. It's not going to hang off and get snagged on a lot of items. Let's go ahead and go outside. So I'm out here on the short range, and these targets are at about 25 yards from me. Now I'm going to show you how to operate the Holosun Raid. It's about 11 degrees out here, so please bear with me. I'm going to show you the different modes that it has. It has on, off, high, low, and a lockout mode. I'm going to show you them here on the short range, and then we are going to go to a longer distance and see how far that beam goes, see what it looks like at distance, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like to be on the receiving end of this beam. So let's start off. To turn the unit on, press the button, it'll come on, and it'll remember what mode it was on when you turned it off. Back on to high, off, and on low mode. Now with the light on, you can double click the button and you'll switch between the modes. This is the high mode. It's that 1,000 lumens and 80,000 candela. And this is the low mode. I'll put the numbers on the screen so you can see how many lumens it has there. Now it has a lockout mode, and that mode is good for transportation or storage, so you don't accidentally activate the light. And to go into lockout mode, you just press the button 3 times, and it will flash to let you know that it is now in lockout mode, and the buttons will not do anything while you're in that mode. So to get out of the lockout mode, you have to press the button 3 more times, and it will come on to the last mode that it was on when you locked it out. And that's how you cycle through all the different modes and use the Holosun Raid. As you see, there's no strobe or any other modes that you don't really need. And now we are at distance, so you can kind of make out that shed up there. That's about 60 or so yards from us. And we can see that it lights up pretty well. Let me see, am I in the low mode or the high mode? Let's see. All right, now we're in the low mode. And those trees behind there, they're over 100 yards away. So it's got a pretty good tight beam out there, and we'll switch back into the high mode. So it really throws the beam out there with those 80,000 candela. And about 10 yards or so ahead of us, it does illuminate that area. So it does illuminate some of the area in front of you, and then the rest of it is thrown out there at distance. Let's see how it looks down over a field here. All right, now I'm gonna go out to about 60 or so yards and shine the light back on the camera. All right, so we have the Holosun raid out here. Let's start by striking these steel plates here. All right. Well, I got a little bit of dirt on the bezel there, but it's still looking pretty good. Ow, that kind of hurt my hand, actually. May have just knocked a little bit of finish off. Maybe it actually knocked it off the plate onto the front of the bezel there, but it's holding up pretty well. All right, we've got the raid tied to the end of our side-by-side. Let's go ahead and do some drag testing on it. All right, we drug this thing through the snow about 300 yards. There it is. Caked in snow. Still lights up, button still works on it. There. Can the Holosun raid survive being frozen into a solid block of ice? Well, it's super cold here in West Virginia, and we're gonna find out if the raid survives this extreme torture test. One cold night later. There it is, block of ice. Well, come on out of there. And there is a Holosun raid stuck inside there. There we go. Now the battery in this might be dead after being in that block of ice all night. And it still works. Look at that. Double click. We have low, high mode. Low, high mode. We got off, on, off, on. So even after being in a block of ice all night, the raid still works. All right, so we're back inside now, and here we have the raid light. Now, dragging it behind the side-by-side for about 100 yards, we got a little bit of corner rounding off right here, and we got some of the corners rounded off on these tail cap guards right here. Otherwise, there's no damage to the light. The light worked fine. When we got it out of the block of ice there, now when I showed it to you turned on, when I went into low mode, there was a little bit of a strobing effect. And that effect wasn't in the light here. I believe that's what they call pulse width modulation, or that's what it was explained to me as. They use a different wavelength or a frequency when you go into the low mode, and that was causing that strobing effect on the iPhone. The light works completely fine. In fact, if I turn it on back here and turn it to low mode, you can see there is no strobing at all in that beam there. So that was just something that the camera picked up there. So I've got a light mounted here to my IWI Carmel, and you're gonna see this rifle in a review at a later time when it warms up. I'm gonna review this rifle setup with the Raid and the AEMS. So I kind of got it decked out in Holosun goodies right here. So if you're interested in seeing a review on this rifle, go ahead and stay tuned to my channel. Now, I really do like the Raid. I think it's going to be one of the best new lights of 2025 for long guns. It's compact, it's got industry standard mounts on it, and an industry standard remote plug, that crane plug on here. The price is right at under 200 bucks, even getting down towards 150. Maybe some places have it cheaper. You're getting a lot of value in this light, and it's a pretty durable light. You saw us smack it on the plates, drag it behind the side-by-side, and freeze it into that block of ice. And it was submerged in that water all night in negative temperatures out there, so it held up really well. Inside, I didn't get it on film, but I opened the light up and there was no water in the light body and there was no water in the crane plug. So this light did extremely well there. So guys, if you want to check out the Raid lights, holosun.com is where you can find them. Thanks for watching my video, everybody. This has been another WV Guns and Goats video. And remember, if you're not out there having fun shooting, what are you doing?